Hello, hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe we are already at the last event of the day. Spiritual Sunday has been an absolute blast. It is safe to say I'm exhausted, but I mean, it's been like 9 straight hours of just connecting, or some type of spiritual talk or something. It's been amazing. I have loved every moment of it. So when you guys are here, just the comment section is here. So comment, let me know that you're here, where you're watching from, what you've been up to today. If you've been doing anything other than like joining me, what have you been up to today? Wow. Yeah, it's our last event of the day. That's amazing. That's amazing. So what we're doing with this live is going to be all about releasing your blockages and doing some intention setting. So if you have a pen and paper, that would be really helpful to have handy, or a tablet or something to write your things down with, because I'm going to be walking you guys through some exercises. But if you have questions as we go, anything you want to discuss, like that's what the comment section is here for. Let this be an open line of communication. And I'm just trying to get comfortable. Hold on. Okay. Hey, Michaela. Hey, Ashley. Hi, Jennifer. Okay. All right, good. Hello. So excited. So I don't know how many people will or won't join. I have no idea, but if you're watching this, and it is right around 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and or you see this little red button up here somewhere that says live, it means that we're live. If you do not see that time or that little live button, or it's not around 7:30 p.m. Central Time, then you're likely watching the replay. But I encourage you to still interact, still comment, still do whatever it is that you want to do. And I will do my best to try to get back to people. Let me see. Yes. So this isn't necessarily going to be recorded, but it will be, well, I guess technically it is recorded. I'm not recording it. YouTube is automatically doing that. But it'll be saved to the page. So if for any reason you have to go out, or, walk away, you can always come back at a later time and just come to my page, and you should be able to watch it. Hello. Hi. Good. Okay. Hey, Laurie. Hi, Tina. Hi again, Penny, Leslie. Good. Alicia. All right. So yeah, Taylor, what a day. Yeah, I know. It's been a really long day, but it's been an absolutely beautiful day. And I'm surprised that I somehow still have my voice. I'm actually, just bear with me, I meant to grab a water before we started, but I forgot. So I'm going to text my husband and ask him to bring me a water. Let me see. Can you bring me a water, please? There we go. The benefits of working from home. All right. No, this live is not going to be readings, Ashley. This live is intention setting and removing blockages. Yeah, hopefully it won't take an hour to bring water. I know. It was funny. My husband was busy earlier, and my daughter, she took a good hour to get me my water I asked for. But that's funny. So, okay. So today we're going to be talking about intention setting and the importance of it, and how to remove our blockages, because yes, Tina, we're live, because the biggest thing is, like, let's be honest, right? Like what holds us back the most? Ourselves, right? Like we get in our way more than anyone or anything else. It's my water. Hi, Vivi. Hi. Thank you. Love you. Mwah. Hey, blow me a kiss. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So let's be honest here, right? Like when we're trying to achieve something in life, or when we're trying to like break a cycle about something, we tend to get in our own way more than anything else, right? It's like our own limiting beliefs, or we make excuses for things, or we point the finger, right? Like we get in the way. So we're going to talk today about, ways to overcome that, ways to release our blockages. I'm going to be walking you through some of my favorite ways to really sit down and intentionally focus on releasing my blockages. And then we're also going to do some intention setting and how to really put what we want for ourselves out into the universe, and how to be open to being receptive of receiving that. Does that make sense? So that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you have a pen and a paper, get that handy. We're going to be using it in just a little bit. And if you guys have questions as we go, let me know. Okay. All right. I don't know why I put the lids back on this, because I'm going to grab it 1,000 more times while we're live. Okay. Let me close or open up to my page. All right. So the importance of removing our blockages, let's start there. We have our intuition and then we have our ego, right? We're all usually pretty good at listening to our ego, because our ego is loud and our ego is very human based. And so it's more bam in your face, right? It's that thing that makes you go, ugh, no, like I can't do that, or I'm not good enough for that, or oh my gosh, what are other people going to think, right? It's that little voice inside your head that tries to keep you grounded, but it ends up just keeping you too grounded, and it typically really pulls you away from your alignment and what it is that you want for your life. Does that make sense? Are the comments working? I just want to make sure, because I was live earlier in one of my other lives, and all of a sudden the comments had stopped working. So real quick, just if you could do a quick emoji or a thumbs up or a hi or something, just so I can make sure real quick before I just start rambling, that the comments are still working. I want to make sure that's not another issue. Okay. Yes, this is live, Tammy. Good. Thank you, everyone. Okay, comments are working. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to take just a second, and I want you to kind of think about, what are some ways that you hold yourself back? And if you're comfortable with it, feel free to share some of those things in the comments. What are some limiting beliefs that you place on yourself? What are some of the reasons you've given yourself as to why you can't have the life that you want, or achieve the goal that you want, or manifest something into your life, whether it's something, physical, like in the external world, or whether that's something internal. But what are some of the blockages that you guys experience? What are some of the ways that you really do just kind of hold yourself back? I know for me personally, a lot of my limiting beliefs are, they stem from self-worth issues, or I'm a people pleaser. So I always put other people ahead of myself. Those are really big struggles that I have, that I'm constantly having to overcome and sit with and acknowledge. Taylor said, the anxiety of not knowing what to expect and avoiding conflict. Yeah, absolutely. I'm another one. I will go out of my way to avoid conflict. So I absolutely understand that. And the anxiety around the not knowing what to expect. A lot of people, if not everybody, deals with that. Negativity, feeling like you're not smart enough, or you don't deserve it, feel a failure. Yeah. And see, this is why I was asking you guys to comment, because as you can see, there are a couple people who have some of the same or similar responses, right? So what that kind of shows us is that we're not alone in that. It's not just us who feel that way. You're not the only one who struggles with that. What will others say about me? Yeah. Right. So there's that fear of judgment. So being able to identify some of the things that really hold you back is important, right? So here's something, is when you're able to identify what some of your blockages are, that's step one. Great, you've identified it. Now let's go a step further and let's figure out where that comes from, right? So let's say feeling like you don't deserve it, feeling like you're not smart enough. That's a self-worth issue. Where does that stem from? What sparked that internal voice for you? What made you feel like you're not smart enough or you're not good enough? Does it come from a childhood experience? Does it come from an old relationship? Um, is it something that you saw modeled by other people around you and then you just kind of took that on as your own? Like, where does it stem from? If you struggle with, not feeling like you're in control, not being comfortable in the uncertainty of it all, where does that stem from? Again, does that kind of come back to your childhood in some way? Have you trusted yourself before and then feel like you failed, and so now you don't know if you can trust yourself, right? Like, identify the blockages, identify what holds you back, and then take it a step further and try to acknowledge where it comes from. Because I can promise you, you did not come into this world feeling like you weren't good enough. You did not come into this world being fearful of the unknown. You did not come into this world fearful of what other people would think, or that you could possibly fail at anything. You came into this world as a limitless being, as that divine source energy that you truly are at your core. All of these blockages, all these fears, all these doubts that you now have stem from your social conditioning, from your experiences, from your perception of what your reality really is. And so it's important to have a better understanding of that so that you can really start to heal that, because we can't release those blockages until we allow ourselves to heal. Does that make sense? So you have to be ready to kind of do that mental healing, that emotional healing, that spiritual healing. And you have to become ready to do some really sometimes difficult mental work, to where you have to start becoming aware of yourself. You have to start being honest with yourself and acknowledging some things that maybe you've suppressed, or you've just said, oh, it's just who I am, and you've accepted it. But here's what I want to ask you. If the exact outlook you had on life today, the outlook you have on yourself and the life that you live right this very moment, if everything remained exactly the same, down to a T, a year from now, your life looked exactly the same as it does today, would you be happy? Would you be happy that your life has maintained every bit of consistency in every single way? Nothing has changed. Nothing has grown. No abundance has come in. Everything is exactly as it is today. 1 year from now, would you be happy? Be honest with yourself. It's okay if you say yes. It's okay if you say no. No, no, nope, no. Yeah. See? So a lot more no's coming in. Not at all. Yeah. So if we know that we would not be okay with our life a year from now if it looked exactly like it did today, then why do we continue to let these fears and these blockages hold us back and keep us from the change? Why do we let it keep us in this cycle that we're just not happy in? Right? Like, we are not in control of our of external things. We are not in control of what happens around us, or even sometimes what happens to us. But we are in control of ourselves. We are in control of our own energy and how we react, how we perceive certain experiences, relationships, things of that nature. And we are in control of our own healing. So if you went through abuse or some sort of big trauma, is that something you could have controlled? No. No, it's not. Is it okay to continuously point the finger or blame everyone and everything else for where you are today? Depending on how recent the trauma is, maybe. But for the most part, no. Like, let's say you grew up in a very abusive household. You're now an adult. Is it still okay to blame everything in your life on that childhood abuse? No. No, because now as an adult, it is your responsibility to heal yourself. It is your responsibility to heal the cycle and break the cycle and create the type of life that you desire for yourself. Maybe that's going to come with cutting ties from certain members. Maybe that's going to come by speaking your truth. Maybe that's going to come through, moving away and starting fresh. Like, who knows? It's going to be different for every one of us. But although you cannot control those outer circumstances, it is your responsibility and it is up to you to create the reality that you desire, regardless of what the outer circumstances are. So, you look at somebody, and let's say from an outsider's point of view, they have a perfect, healthy marriage, beautiful, healthy children, a successful business. They have everything that you've ever dreamed of. And from your perspective, you're looking at this person and you're saying, wow, life always comes so easy to them. But I bet if you sat down and you talked to this person, they would let you know the traumas that they went through, the hardships, the failures. They would let you know, life has not come easy, but they've kept going. They've overcome, they've healed, they've acknowledged, they've been honest with themselves. They've done the work to get where they are today. So it's important never to compare your story to anyone else's, because we all have trauma. We all have burdens. We all have the ego that is constantly telling us you can't, you're not good enough, you won't, it's constantly beating us down. We all have that. But it is up to us, especially as adults, to take our reality into our own hands, to be very honest with ourselves, and to do whatever we need to do to create the reality that we want, that we need, and that we deserve. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. Alicia said maybe in some parts I'd still be happy, and that's fine, right? But without change and everything remaining the same, you might be a little bored, right? Or looking for something to be different a year from now. Nicole said, see, from the outside, it looks like I'm that person, but the truth is it's a facade. So see, like, we all have that. Yeah, take your fate into your own hands. That's absolutely true. So what we're going to do before we get into our intention setting is I want to take a minute. I want you to get out your pen and your paper. And I want you to get a piece of paper, and at the top of it, if I'm shaking, it's because I'm on a table. I want you to write down blockages. Okay, blockages. And what I want you to do is I'm going to just turn on some music, and we're going to sit here for just a couple minutes. And I want to give you some time to check in with yourself. And I want you to write down any blockages that you feel are holding you back. It could be emotional blockages, physical blockages, spiritual blockages, could be your ways of self-talk. It could be, your habits, your traits, anything at all. It's going to be different for all of us. But I'm going to turn on some music. I'm going to give you just a minute. And I want you to write down some things that you feel block you from living the life or achieving your goals that you want to achieve and to have. Okay. Be honest with yourself. I'm not going to ask you to post this or share it. I mean, you can if you want, you are absolutely welcome to, but I want you to be honest with yourself. Okay. So I'm going to turn on some music, and we're just going to sit for a minute, check in with yourself, see what comes up, and write it down. Okay. You've written down a couple things. If anyone wants to share anything that's on their list, feel free to. I'm not going to share everything that I wrote down. I jotted down a few things, but I will share some things. So for me, I wrote down that some of my blockages are, like I said before, self-worth issues, being a people pleaser, always putting everyone before myself. I'm a huge procrastinator. I wait till the last minute for everything. So that is definitely a blockage. That's something that I feel holds me back. I tend to feel overwhelmed with things that are new. And so depending on what it is, a lot of times because I'm overwhelmed, instead of trying to learn how to do it or learn what it means or dive into it, I quit before I start. That's a big hesitation. There's childhood traumas that are still in need of healing. And there's a couple other things there, doubt in myself. So these are all things that, for me personally, these are things that hold me back. And like I said, if you are comfortable with it, you are welcome to share some of your responses. If not, that's absolutely okay. You don't have to share anything at all that you don't want to share. But this is a personal journey, okay? So I want you to make sure that you are being honest with yourself in your responses, that you are taking time to, no matter how hard it is, to acknowledge that if it shows up, it needs to be acknowledged, okay? Taylor said, some of the things I wrote are fear of change, rejection, self-doubt, failing, conflict, childhood trauma, and relationship trauma. Yeah, those are a lot of things. And I bet a lot of people in here could relate to some of those things, if not all of them. So, we're definitely not alone. Even some of your responses, some of them are the same as some of mine. So it really shows like we're going through this together. Like each journey is different, but a lot of the aspects are the same. So, you can find that support that you need, and you can talk about it with people. And I promise you, more people are going to understand than you think, if you're comfortable talking about it. So we have what our blockages are, right? And so what I want you to do is, you know, we're just going to do mini exercises today, but after this live is over, feel free to do this again and go more in depth and really sit with yourself, or very much so encourage you to make this a routine. Okay. Alicia Lynn said, I'm a single mom and I always put all three of them before anything that makes me happy because I don't want them to feel like I felt when I wasn't important to my own mother. Right. Yep. So we try to show up and, protect our kids from what we experienced. And sometimes that comes at the expense of ourselves, which, sacrifice is a part of parenthood, but we should still be making time for ourselves, right? We should still be making time to make ourselves happy. Nicole said, negativity, poor self-worth, getting over past, finding positives, accepting blessings, believing that people care. Yeah. Yep. Laurie said, wait. Mm-hmm. Yep. Nicole said, wait, physical and mental. Yeah. Yep. Fear of mistakes at work. Yeah. These are all really good ones. So, there are things, right? Whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritual, like there are all these different blockages and all these different struggles. So while I'm not going to ask you to sit here today, since we're only, going to be live for about an hour, I'm not going to ask you to go sit with each one of your blockages and go backwards and try to identify where it comes from and sit with the emotions right now. But in the future, I would encourage you to do that very much. If you're focused on self-worth, sit with that feeling for a little while, feel it, feel what triggered that in you. Envision yourself as that young child and hug him or her and say, you are worthy. You are perfect exactly the way that you are, and begin to do that healing. Okay. Yeah, these are all great responses. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Both Tinas. Yeah. Yep. So perfect. I love it. Thank you all so much for being open to sharing. So we have our blockages, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on what we want our intentions to be. Now, intention setting usually comes a little bit easier because it's not as difficult. Sometimes it is, but it usually isn't, right? So when we talk about what our when we talk about why did my mind just draw a complete blank? Intentions. That's what I'm looking for. I'm like, oh my God, what is the word? When we're thinking about what our intentions are, what our goals are, these are likely things that are going to come to you really, really quick. I want this. I want that. I want to feel this. I want to feel that, right? Like these are going to come to you quick. So what I want you to do is I want you to go underneath of where you wrote down your blockages or somewhere else on your page. And I want you to write intentions or goals, whatever it is that you feel you want to write. Now, your intentions and your goals. What I want you to do when you do this is I want you to write down at least one, if not a couple more, intention or goal that you'd like to achieve for your life physically, spiritually, and mentally or emotionally. Okay, so there should be something that kind of falls into all these different categories. I don't want your list to just be I want more money, I want a bigger house, I want a bigger car. Make sure that you're looking at all the areas of your life and just jot down a couple of your goals, a couple of the things that you'd like to manifest into your life. So same thing, I'm going to turn on some music. We're going to sit for just a couple minutes and write down what it is in these different areas that we would like to bring into our lives to be the best version of ourselves. Okay. Okay. How'd we do? You guys have some things written down? Feel free to share in the comments whatever it is that you're comfortable sharing. Tina said, is this like core work? Yes, absolutely. Sure is. So I'll share with you some of mine. So for physical, some of the things I wrote down, I'd like to improve my strength and have a better flow of movement, work on my flexibility, work on just movement just to feel better. I'm someone who I struggle with PCOS. I would love to, improve that or heal that. I also wrote down, of course, like more financial abundance, my dream house, and things like that. Emotional, I wrote down better self-love, learn to set better boundaries. Spiritual, some of that for me does spiritual stuff, just work kind of goes into that. So I wrote down some things with that. But aside from work, I wrote down find more peace and balance, make my meditations, make my development a priority, keep evolving, keep growing, and just like overall, like bring in more freedom, more love, more just overall abundance and happiness for myself and within my family. Taylor said this was easier than I thought, and Nicole said it's harder for me. Yeah. And so it's going to go one way or the other. For some people, it's going to be more difficult than acknowledging your blockages. And for some people, it's going to be way easier. And that's just to each their own, each journey, right? So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Why is it so hard for you to realize what your goals are? It's likely because of those blockages that you have. So that's why it's so important to remove those. And if your goals come really easy to you, then you already know what you want. You know the path that you want to go on. But why aren't you doing it? Right? So there's questions to ask yourself with both of those responses. But yeah, if you guys want to share anything, feel free to share. If not, like I said, that's okay too. So we have our blockages and now we have our intentions, right? Now with your intentions, so with your blockages, you know how I asked you to like look at your blockage and then try to figure out where it stems from? When you look at your intentions and your goals, I want you to look at each one and figure out what your why is. Why do you want to achieve that? Why do you want to bring that into your life? Figuring out what your why is, what's the reason? Here come the hiccups. I always get hiccups when I'm like doing things that are spiritual, or kind of in that space. But figuring out what your why is going to help you to find that motivation to help you keep going, to help you keep working towards it, to help you show up and commit, because you're going to know why you're working towards something. So, you know, again, same thing with the blockages. I want you to take some time, not during this live because we're limited on time, but you know, later tonight or later this week or whenever you have some time, sit with each one of your intentions, sit with what each one of your goals and figure out, why do I want this? Why is this important to me? And again, be honest with yourself, be truthful with yourself. Okay. So once we have done that, typically here's what I do. So for me, I try to do it at least once a week. Sometimes life just gets busy and I don't have time to, but I do try really hard to do it at least once a week, if not at least once every other week. What I do is I have like this whole ritual that I do, and I would encourage you to come up with your own manifestation ritual, to come up with your own release ritual, whatever works for you. Because what it does is, if you have like a ritual that you commit to and you're sitting down, you're doing this, it's forcing you to pay attention to these things. It's forcing you to focus on these things. And like, you have to commit to yourself, right? So if you're not focused on these things, then how are you really making any changes? Does that make sense? So for me, the way that I do it, my ritual is basically I do just what we did. I write things down, and then I spend some time sitting with each thing that I wrote down and either figuring out where it stems from. And once I figure out where it stems from, you know, some of the stuff I'll sit and really just, things are okay. You are worthy. That was in your past. It's not part of your future. Like, I will try to heal that more vulnerable side of me. I'll acknowledge where these things stem from, and then I'll just sit. I'll just feel it. I'll ask my guides to help me in releasing anything that just isn't meant to serve me anymore, anything that I've learned from, or anything that just weighs me down, to just go ahead and release that. And I'll usually sit with that for maybe about 15 minutes with the blockages. And then for the next 15 minutes, I sit with my intentions, and I do the same thing, except instead of figuring out where it stems from, I write down my intentions and I sit with each one and I figure out, okay, why is this important to me? And then once I figure out why everything's important to me, I sit and I just envision my life as though all of these manifestations and these intentions have come to be. And I just sit with that for a while and I envision like my best life possible. So like, if you knew that whatever you wanted would show up for you and you'd be successful with it, you know, what is it that your life would look like? Envision that life. Okay. So once I do that, what I'll do, for me personally, I like to go outside and burn it safely, like get a safe space to burn this. And that's what I do. But you can, some people like to, put it under their pillow when they go to bed. Some people like to, put it in water and watch the ink dissolve. Some people just like to rip it up and, throw it away with the intention of, that this is gone. So whatever is right for you. But for me personally, what I do is after I write things down, after I sit with it for about a half hour, I'll go outside with my lighter, and I have a little ceramic bowl that I burn stuff in, so it's safe. Like nothing's going on there. It's not going anywhere. But I'll go outside and I will burn it. I will burn it. And what I do is I rip it in half. So like I have my blockages and I have my intentions, and I rip it in half and I focus on my blockages first. And I sit there and I just, again, ask the universe. I read my blockages out. I read them out loud, because I feel like what that does is I'm giving it to the universe to take away. Here's my blockages. I'm acknowledging them. Take them away, or help me overcome them. Help me work through them. And so what I'll do is I'll read them out loud. I'll roll the paper up and I'll sit there with it in my hand and I'll just ask. I'll pray to my angels, my guides, whoever it is that you pray to, whoever it is that you talk to, and just ask for assistance in removing anything that is no longer serving you, help you in overcoming the blockages, helping you to find the answers that you need, the clarity that you seek, to help you overcome these, to find the strength to do your internal healing, the courage to keep going when things get hard, and just ask them to take it. Ask them to take all that heaviness away. And you don't have to word it like that, like to each their own, but that's what I do. And then I burn it. And as it's burning, I'm just envisioning like all this weight, all this heaviness just coming out and going away with the smoke. It's going out into the universe. It's no longer within me. It's now gone, right? And so then once that paper is burned up, I go on to my intentions and I do the same thing. I read my intentions out loud. I give it to the universe. And then I roll the paper up, sit with it in my hand. And I ask my guides, I ask my loved ones, I ask my angels, I ask universe to help bring these things into my life. And I'll say something along the lines of, please help me to achieve my goals. Please bring these intentions to me in a way that serves my highest good. I surrender to what that may look like. I'm open to the unknown roads that I may have to go down. I'm open to the changes that may come in order for these goals and intentions to come true and to be able to be a part of my life. I'm open to the changes that need to take place for that. I trust in your guidance, and I'm excited for this life that is coming to me in all of its abundance. And I will burn that paper. And again, as the smoke goes away, I envision all that heaviness is gone. And now all of this beauty, as that paper burns, all this beauty, all these intentions, all this positive energy is now refilling all that empty space that I have inside of me, right? Because I've released my blockages. So now there's like this hole inside of me, this energetic hole. And I need to refill that. So I'm going to refill it with all of my intentions, with all the positivity, with all the love, right? I'm going to refill it, but I'm going to refill it with things that are good and that are meant to serve my highest good, right? And it's important to remember that with your intentions and with your goals, you do have to be open to the way they may show up, because it may not look how you thought it was going to look or show up in the way you thought it was going to show up, but it's going to show up in a way that's meant to serve your highest good. And that's the part you have to trust and you have to be open to. That's the part that makes us uncomfortable, because that's the part that we're not in control about. But if you can trust that you're protected and you can trust that things are going to be okay, then you'll start to see how those things do come in to serve your highest good. Yeah, I do this a lot under a full moon. Yeah, doing things under a full moon is beautiful. There's a strong energy when it comes to full moon, but you don't need a full moon in order to set your intentions. You can do it at any day or at any time, day or night, any day of the week, of the month, of the year. You can set those intentions and you can release things that are no longer serving you. Nicole said she's feeling very emotional. That's okay. That's okay. Usually I think that when we feel emotional about something that someone's talking about, it's because there's a part of our soul that's resonating with it. There's a part of us that is connecting with it, knows that we need to hear it. So that's okay. So once I do that, right? Like once I've said everything out loud, I've sat with things, I've burned it, then for me, what I usually do is I'll go back, I'll clean up my mess and I'll go inside, I'll get a bottle of water, I'll kind of chug that water real quick. And then I make myself a hot tea. I'm a big tea drinker. I'll make myself a cup of hot tea and then I'll go run a hot bath. And sometimes I'll put candles around. Sometimes I'll, light some sage in the room with me. Sometimes I'll put some Epsom salt or a bath bomb or something in there. But I just do whatever makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel relaxed. And I'll turn on some music, kind of like what we're listening to right now, just like this meditation music. And I'll just take some time for me to just sit and envision the life that I want to live. Or if I feel like I need to sit with some of those heavier things, then I'll allow myself the time and the space to do that. But making yourself a priority, okay? That's really what it comes down to. Make yourself a priority and give yourself the time, the space, and the allowance that you need to face these things head on and to be open and to be honest with yourself. Does that make sense? Because you're not going to be able to release your blockages if you're sugarcoating things or if you're still pointing the finger. You have to be ready to be real with yourself and with your intentions. You have to let go of those limiting beliefs and the feelings that are holding you back or the habits that hold you back. You have to be ready to make the changes you need to make space for those. So I had said this in one of my earlier lives. I was doing a private class on manifestation, and I know some of you were in that class. And so you'll probably remember me saying this. We can ask the universe and we can ask spirit for everything that we've ever desired, for assistance in everything. But they can only meet us halfway. We have to be the ones that show up and are ready to put in the work and are ready to do what we are in control of, to do the other half. Does that make sense? It's a team effort. So if you're just asking for things, but you're not changing anything, you're not doing the healing work, you're not removing anything that's not aligned, you're not removing toxic relationships, you're not setting boundaries, you're not healing yourself from within, you're not allowing yourself to take chances, those intentions are not going to come in. Or if they do, they're going to take a lot longer to come in than they would if you were stepping up and doing the work that you needed to do so that the universe and you could work together to make these manifestations, these intentions, these goals a part of your reality. Does that make sense? So it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be all at once. You can decide, every week or every month to just focus on one thing at a time, one blockage, one intention. That's it. Just one thing of each at a time. Or you can do a bunch of stuff. It's to each their own, whatever you feel inclined to do, whatever you feel drawn to do. But make yourself that priority. Okay? Make yourself that priority. Allow yourself the time to do it. And you do not have to do it in the same exact way I do it. There are so many other ways out there. You can't do it wrong. Like there's no wrong way to do it. But what it comes down to is making the time, making the commitment, being open and honest with yourself, and just working through that ego, working through those blockages, and being okay with stepping into the uncomfortable space that you sometimes need to be in for the changes to take place. We do not change. We do not grow when we are comfortable. That's why people get complacent, because they're like, oh no, I'm good here. Good here. Don't want to do any changes. When something changes and you fall into a new chapter of your life, be present, enjoy it for a while, but don't get too complacent. Always try to change, always try to better yourself, always try to keep evolving or keep learning, keep healing, right? Challenging yourself in some way. Enjoy it, take a break every now and then, embrace where you are and how far you've come, but don't get stuck there. Does that make sense? Tina said, I felt the change. Good. I know it's in my head. I'm very hopeful that this helps me let it go. And I hope it will. It should. It definitely should. Just that commitment to yourself. So do you all have any questions for me? Anything that you want to know about? Anything you want to share? I think that this is really important for everybody to do. And I find that if I go through a period of time where I'm not doing this, where I'm not checking in with myself, my depression becomes heavier. My procrastination becomes heavier. I just start to feel like unaligned with who I am. Like I really start to fall more into like this 3D sort of experience, which is great. I mean, we're supposed to experience the 3D where we came here to have a human existence. But it doesn't all have to be heavy or bad or sad or scary. And so, in order to maintain that balance between the earthly realm and that spiritual realm, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience, so finding the balance between the two can be challenging. But if you make yourself a priority, if you make the time for it, it comes rather easy, rather simple. Let me see. Yeah, this can definitely help you get over a loss, like a lost loved one. Absolutely. Taylor said, you told me in my reading that you felt I have a blockage in my throat. Anything specific I can do to help release this blockage? Is this what unblocks a chakra? So those are two of the same questions, right? So yeah, so when you have a energetic blockage, so we have our 7 chakras. If you're not familiar with chakras, please look them up. But they're energy points throughout our body. And if you have a blockage somewhere, it's usually because that blockage is being created because you're holding on to some type of emotional heaviness. There's some sort of emotional blockage. So by working through your emotional blockages, by working through any spiritual blockages, by working through your ego, you will in turn start to work through the blockages with your chakras as well. They'll just naturally, everything kind of goes hand in hand, mind, body, soul, right? All connected. So if you deal with one, other aspects are going to be impacted. So if let's say, for example, your throat chakra, when your throat chakra is blocked, it usually means that you have trouble speaking up for yourself. It means that you avoid conflict. It means that you are suppressing things, that you're not being honest either with yourself or with someone else. And so as you start to overcome these things and understand why you are this way, and then you make the changes so that you're not holding things in anymore, so that you're not, suppressing your true self, then that throat chakra will become more clear. If you have a blockage in your crown chakra or in your third eye, those are spiritual connections. So is there some sort of like spiritual fear that you have? Are you afraid of something with spirit? Are you afraid of your own development? Like pay attention to these things, and that's going to help you to unlock those. I would also really, really suggest Reiki. Going and finding a Reiki practitioner and having them do Reiki on you, that would really help as well. The tightness in my chest, is that the emotions or something else? It's hard to say. It could be your emotions for sure. Yeah. When we resonate with something on a soul level, sometimes our bodies will react. You could also have a heart chakra blockage, which that'll deal with things like self-worth, feeling like nobody cares about you, things like that. So that could be, that is trying to say, hey, you have a blockage going on in your heart chakra. I was told I have a black aura. I've never seen anyone with a black aura. No, I don't know who told you that, but I don't think you have a black aura. We all, no matter how hard things are for us right now, we all still have that inner essence that shines through, even if it's just a little bit. We all have that true knowing, that unconditional love that is somewhere in there, even if it's buried deep beneath grief, depression, anxiety, it's still within there. So that always shines through. I've never ever seen anyone with a black aura. At 62 years old, it's good to have new tools to figure out how to get where I truly want to be in the next phase of life. Been too complacent and stuck for too long, especially at work. Yay. I'm glad to hear that, Laurie. What color of aura do most people have? Everybody's is different. Everyone's is different. So I don't know. Hold on. Let me see. Let me look behind me real quick. They might be right where I can get them. Um, Yep, there they are. So hold on. So you can actually have a photograph of your aura taken. They use a special type of equipment, a special type of camera. But I went to my local metaphysical store, and I like to go periodically and just have a picture of my aura taken. I think it's really neat. So what's that say? A psychic and I looked up, and I was totally like, not me. I'm the most loving, caring person. Yeah. So I definitely, I don't think you have a black aura. So let me show you a good example here. Okay. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on camera, but I went in, right, and I was doing some spiritual work. And so I wanted to get my aura photo taken before my spiritual work and after my spiritual work, just to see if there would be any difference. And the brighter the color, the more in tuned you are with spirit, and the less that you can see yourself in your photo, like the thicker the color, the stronger it is. If you can see yourself, it typically means that there's like some blockages, some things you need to work through. So let me show you this. Okay. I hope that you can see it. So this was before. Now let me explain this. Before I went in to do my spiritual work at this metaphysical shop, okay, I don't remember the details, but I remember like I was having a really hard morning. Like I was really focused on the 3D. I was stressing. There were some things that were going on that I was just like, I might have even been crying that morning. I don't know. Like it was a hard morning for me. And so I went in and hold on. I wonder if I turn this light off, if that'll help at all. Nope, that makes it worse. So let me see. I guess that's the best you're really going to see it. So you can see me here, right? You can see me there. Like you can see me. You can see my face. You can see my glasses. You can see my shirt, my shoulders, everything. The color around me was all purple, and then, the yellow and everything up here, like those are my guides. The purple represents my my spirituality, my spiritual connection and everything. But like it's really kind of dark down here, and it is very clear. Like you can see me pretty easily through that, right? It means that I just wasn't really in a good space. I was very, very stressed and overwhelmed. I went in, I did my meditations, I did some spiritual work, I did some of these exercises that I'm currently talking about. And I came back out, and it was just within like a 35, 40-minute time frame. I came back out, and I had it taken again after I had connected with spirit, after I had connected with myself. And let me just show you the difference. This was when I came back out. Do you see that? Like, here's all my guides, and here's all my intuition, all my spiritual energy, right? And like you can still kind of see me, but you can't see me nearly as clearly as you could before. But do you see how bright this is versus how dark that is? So this was when I was stressed. This was when I was depressed. This is when I was thinking about all the things that I was not in control of, all the things that I was unhappy with, all the things that I didn't want. And then I meditated, and I realized everything is okay. Everything's going to work out exactly the way it needs to be. And I focused on myself, and I did some internal talk, and I did some internal healing. And that was literally about a half hour later. Like what? Like, look at that difference, right? Like, look at that difference. That's amazing. So, no matter how much you're struggling, I don't think you have a black aura. I don't think anyone will have a black aura. At least I've never seen it. But I have, I get them done like all the time. And it's so cool because look different based off of this one. I was sick. See how clear you can see me? Like I was good. Like my intuition, everything was good, but I had a chest cold. So look how clear you can see me. But like everything, like they always look so different, and it's just based off of where you're at. So your colors for your auras can change. Like they can change. And if one day you have a purple and yellow aura, the next day you could have a blue and green aura. It's just, each color represents a different type of energy. It represents a different chakra. And we're always changing. We're always going through different things. So these are cool. I definitely encourage you to like get those done. But I got mine done at my local metaphysical shop. So I'm sure like if you Googled like aura photos in my area, you could find a place. They are cool, aren't they? Tammy said, my problem is I'm so far gone with my issues. I just walk or ignore them. I need very professional help, but I block up to avoid conflict. And that's a big issue, right? That's a big blockage. And that's what we tend to do. We're like, whatever, I don't even want to deal with it anymore. We suppress it. We pretend like it doesn't exist, but that still builds up. That's still weight that we're carrying around. So it's important to acknowledge those. Jennifer, you're in Highland Village. So these are at Miracles of Joy. That's where I went to get these done. So that's right in Louisville. It's like right by the Winco. Are the colors above you your guides? Yeah. The white dots up there. Yeah, those were my guides. Cheryl said, so I can use all this new knowledge and it will help me relationship in life, health concerns that were addressed earlier. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. How do you heal yourself? That's a loaded question. So you start by doing what we talked about today, right? That's a good place to start, by acknowledging things, by being honest with yourself, meditation, making yourself a priority, doing things that make you happy. Just take some time. Okay. Oh, you go there? Yeah, maybe we'll run into each other. I haven't been in there in a little while, but I do go in there quite frequently. I definitely avoid and suppress. Yeah, we all do to a certain extent. I used to do it way more than I do now, and it was a big issue for me. Anxiety, depression were almost to the point where I couldn't function like a normal person. So, the version of me that you see today isn't the version that I always was. The version that you see of me today is the version that has gone through therapy, that has gone through inner child healing, that has gone through shadow work, that has spent the past 12 years just trying to become the best version of myself and trying to understand myself. And that was not always easy. And I was not always good at it. And I'm still not always good at it. A friend of mine called me out the other day on it. She was like, you put yourself on the back burner a whole lot. You need to stop. And I was like, yeah, I know. So it's never too late to start. Never too late to start. And if you fall off, that's okay. You pick yourself back up and you keep trying, right? You keep showing up for yourself. So that is what I have for y'all today. And I hope that was helpful. I hope that you find that you connect with that. So moving forward, okay, I'll still be going live on Facebook, but I am definitely going to start moving over to YouTube a lot more, because Facebook does so much censoring, that it's too much to keep up with. Like things are constantly being deleted, or my page is being reported and things like that, just for saying things like I've said today. Most of the lives that end up getting blocked aren't even ones where I'm doing readings. It's just ones where I'm talking. So I don't know why. I don't know what that's about, but I will be doing a lot more here on here on YouTube. So make sure that you do subscribe. If you want a reading with me right now, the only current offer that I'm doing on a regular basis is my new texting offer, where for $200 you get to text with me for a full 2 weeks. Now that price is just the price for right now. It'll be changing here soon. I just figured to kind of launch it. It would be fun to do it, $200 for 2 weeks, and we get to text every single day, Monday through Friday, as often as you'd like. So that's been really fun. I've been enjoying that offer. Other than that offer, if you want a reading with me, you just kind of have to wait right now for a special offer to go up, because I am going through some spiritual maintenance for myself and for my business. So I'm not operating at full capacity like I usually do. It's just kind of special offers right now and the texting offer. So if you all have any questions, you know where to find me. Feel free to ask. Feel free to, email me, message me on any of my social media platforms. And I will, I'll do my best to get back to you all as soon as I can. You guys are all so, so welcome. Super, super welcome. So I love you all. Have a beautiful night. You'll be with me on YouTube. Yay. Thank you. Oh, forever grateful for you guys as well. All right. So I'm going to go. It's been such a long day. While I am so grateful for it, it has been so much fun. I need some food. I need to put on some sweatpants and I need to go eat like a tub of cookie dough. I'm just talking about like taking care of your physical health. Well, that is part of my self-care tonight. Like go eat some cookie dough and get comfy and just relax. Take a nice long hot bath and some tea. Just kind of get rid of some of this energy I've picked up today. While it's all been beautiful, it's not mine. So I need to release it. So I love you all. I'm glad to see that you've learned a lot, or if you've had a reading today that you've connected, received a message. I love you all and I love your support. Thank you for being here. And I'll touch base with you all soon. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.